Well, it has been a while since we set up our fish room, and we are just about to get started scaping our very first tank. And up today is going to be the UNS 35E Foresta. And what the Foresta is it's a paludarium. If you haven't heard of a paludarium, it is going to be part exposed plants with a part aquarium. And a little fun backstory on this tank, this was actually my very first tank that got sent to me when I started this whole journey. So I feel like it's just fitting to start the fish room out with one of the very first tanks that got sent to me. So without further ado, let's get scaping. It's gonna be a fun one, so stick around. All right, just so you guys know, this video is brought to you by API. Throughout the video, I'm going to be using a few key API products to ensure the paludarium gets off to a great start. All right, well, we got all of our supplies kind of laid out. You know me, I am one to do kind of a half prep and kind of a half just play it by ear. So what I did, that's a little loud. What I did was I kind of found one piece of wood that I really like. I've had this lingering in my garage for a while. It's never been used before, but I figured it would fit perfectly in here. So as you can see, boom, it's almost perfect. It gives you kind of that, you know, it gathers your eye to kind of right here. It doesn't take up the entire foresta, and I feel like that's gonna be perfect. And the way I like to start my scapes is start from the big pieces first. So we kind of know what our big piece is going to be, and setting up this tank is an absolute breeze because of how small it is. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to take some smaller, I feel like these are the petrified wood stones. We're going to take some of these, figure out what works in there. We're not going to get greedy. And then after we're done figuring out, you know, we're going to use some aqua soil. We're going to use some carob seed gravel. It's a little dusty right now, but we'll use this guy. And then after we get the foundation, we get the main rock piece settled, we're gonna take some mosses and we're gonna wrap these little squares with the moss. And the reason being is with the foresta, if you see these two little slits up top, one of these is gonna be dripping water down on the back of this wall, so these will absorb the water. And then the top part is actually gonna be a fine mist that comes out. So I'm really excited to show you that. This is a beautiful tank, and I am very excited to keep going with it. So basically, let's just get all of our stuff laid out so we can see what we're working with, and then we can start scaping. Hey.
You could.
All right. We know. All right, we got all of our stuff set up. Just wanted to show you what I'm using and show you just how easy this is. Like I showed you earlier, we have our piece of wood that'll be our main foundation piece. I'm using these little stones right here. The reason I'm using these is because it has a lot of color and a lot of character. So in the scape so small, we can't use giant pieces. So these little pieces are going to be awesome at giving us the detail we need. Next, we're using carob seed. This is Blue Ridge. Yeah, Blue Ridge gravel. This is going to be kind of our decorative stone that'll be covering our fluval plant stratum. This is going to give us the nutrients for any plants we have planted in there. For the moss wall, we have some Christmas moss, and this is going to be really pretty along the entire back wall. It's going to give us a nice little green wall in the background. And then for something I've never tried before, these are really fancy paludarium exposed air type of plants. I believe this red one right here is a begonia, and then I think this one right here is like a velvet plant. What we can do is on the screen as we're going and planting them, we'll put the names on there, so if you're interested in getting them, feel free to check them out. And then I do want to give a shout out to Ocean Floor Aquariums. That's where I got the plants, it's where I got the stratum, it's where I got the gravel, and it's also where I got this stand. So if you're interested in pretty much anything here, go check out Ocean Floor Aquariums in Phoenix. They'll take really good care of you. All right, now I'll stop yapping and we can start scaping. I almost want to get that light on too so we can see what we're doing. Let's try that. That looks pretty good already. We're done. Finished.
That's it?
That's it. We're done. All right, so with a tank this small, you don't want to get greedy, and something you know I always have a problem with is adding way too many things to my scapes. And with this one, I kind of want more of a simple minimalist type deal. So I'm gonna try my best not to use all of these rocks, and I'm gonna try my best not to add a whole bunch of wood pieces. I do have some sticks in these bags that are just kind of accent sticks, but I feel like it's just gonna detract from the whole thing. And I almost feel like more simple the better. But the one thing I wanna figure out is where this looks good at. I like it kind of forward like that. And
we'll say, in a photography sense, the rule of thirds, that works really well.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it has something down here, and then it kind of the curve kind of fills up the side.
Yeah. It's like the rule of thirds and the golden ratio all in one.
Yeah, if you put like the golden ratio long ways.
Yeah.
And then the rule of thirds is when you have like the grid pattern, right?
Yeah, so you kind of look at it like 1, 2, I guess these work as a rule of thirds, but...
Yeah, you're right.
1/3 here, this is on that 1/3.
I like that.
The camera didn't see any of that.
You're recording, right?
I am.
Yeah, I want Max to be a part of the channel more. Max has good ideas.
Sometimes.
He's learning too. Hopefully we'll do a skate for him soon. I think he wants more of a Sedona style skate.
I do.
So the one thing I noticed immediately is this wants to fall forward like so and poke my eye out. So the first thing we're gonna need to do is put something heavy on this back piece right here to kind of help lock it down. And that's not gonna work immediately, but maybe it will. It'll work immediately. So right there. And yeah, that doesn't block. This is where the water comes into, so that's not really blocking that. And I can't put a lot of substrate in front of those grates right there, just because that's where the water is flowing. But yeah, I like that rock. It's not too high. It's got some character to it. I think I want something kind of right in this corner now. Kind of like this slant right here. That might be a winner. But I really like these boxy ones. This guy has so much character to it. I feel like that would look good. That's a little thick. Because you got to remember, the only planting area we're going to have is in this back corner, and then probably like just a smidgen of planting right in this front area. So I think this boy is a little too thick, but we'll keep him out just in case. Let's try this guy out. No, that's not doing it for me. What if we put... Yeah, that kind of, it's kind of doing something for me. It's kind of doing it. Kind of comes out a little bit. I like that. All right, we'll stick with it.
Was it even a question that you're going to use all of those rocks, or was that a joke? Could you, if you wanted to, use all those rocks?
Oh, we could go crazy. I've seen people with these forestas build like, I think his name is the Aquascaping Rhino. He's amazing on Instagram. He built up all of it to this high with rocks. Jeez. And like made the water from the top flow down, and he put like ferns in it. Little bit above my expertise, but it was really cool. But yeah, you could stack rocks all the way up here, but I don't know if I'm ready for that right now. And I kind of want the minimalist type deal. I feel like that fits the environment better. And I'm trying to challenge myself to do more, I don't want to say gallery style, because in galleries you can have messy scapes, but I want to learn more how to be intricate with my scapes and use less. You know, less is more, and that's kind of what I want to learn. I like that. So one thing I'm trying to figure out is when you're building your scape, when you have your substrate layer, you want to make it look natural as possible. And when you're adding rocks like this guy and this guy, it's making the wood look like it's been inserted and buried into the ground for a long time, and it gives it that natural feel. So like putting this rock right here, I think we really liked it because it, you know, cleared up this huge gap underneath here and filled that space with a rock that looks like this wood piece grew over it, which is really cool. I like this guy right here but I almost feel like the texture matches this texture too much, and it doesn't stand out as much as we need it to. But that is our smallest one. Look how cool that rock is. It's got like the red in there. Super cool. No idea how that forms, but it's very cool. So we're gonna keep him out because definitely is a cool one. Oh geez. That one just doesn't fit as well. Oh wait.
Well, it could fit like that if there's substrate in it, right? Or is the substrate going underneath the rock?
Substrate I kind of want to pour around.
Okay.
With tanks this small, I like to get the base set, and then the substrate's only going to come up to like the top of that. So that might actually work like you're thinking.
We'll just kind of lock it into place, right?
Yeah, I kind of like it. So none of this is glued, so we are going to be battling that. Every subtle movement we make is going to be turning it. Okay. I kind of like that, because then we can put a little plant right here, have like a little open space right here and here, and then have it be open around this side. I kind of like that. Then we might be able to use our little guy right there. I kind of like that, but one thing I do want to do is it's never good to have even number of rocks or wood pieces. I don't really know the reasoning behind it. It's probably something to do with the golden ratio or something like the thirds there, but it just, you see it and it looks too man-made. So we're gonna take an even smaller piece. This guy is too rectangle-y. This guy might just be too small. Kinda want something in the back. Yeah, I think that balances and it gives us the height. It's a little dark in here. It's a shadowed area, but it would give us another glue point. We can glue right here, here, and here, and this piece of wood probably won't be going anywhere. But that still gives us a little tiny space for planting. There's not going to be a lot of plants in here, but I did get some plants from Ocean Floor. I got some Junkin Repens that kind of looks like grass. So I'm probably gonna just spot it in the front, like just like a little grassy area. And then I've seen people use Echinodorus, probably not doing good with that name, but it's a fern and I've seen it grow out of water really well. So with the mist coming down, I'm hoping we can plant some bigger ones and eventually it will die off, but it'll come right back as long as the root system is good. But I think we're good. I see this area right here, that'll get covered up with substrate. But we won't see this rock, but I just want it to have a little extra support down there. Yeah, that looks really good. Max, what do you think? Thumbs of approval? Bam. Yeah, I think I like that. Yeah, that looks awesome. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I ran out of my liquid super glue, the really thin stuff, so we're going to be using some extra thick super glue gel. It does take a little bit longer to dry, but it'll give us time. It'll dry while we're doing the plant wall, while we're doing the rest of the substrate, so I'm not terribly worried about it. But I just want to make sure this isn't clogged. It's coming out. So this is the one I'm really worried about because this is the rock that's holding it from tipping over. So I just want to make sure we can Do a little dab there. It's probably very hard for Max to get an angle of, but bear with us. That's not the best, but it'll work.
Do the rest of them?
Yeah, we'll do the rest of them. Well, we got some glue points all finished up. They're not the most secure, but they're gonna get helped by getting locked down once we get our aqua soil and our gravel on it, so that'll help a lot. I do think I wanna maybe rinse this out because it's pretty dusty and I don't want that going into there. But first things first, we're just gonna get some stratum in there. We're not gonna be able to put a lot, so I have to be careful that I don't dump too much in there at once. Aquascaping scissors are not the best at cutting packages open. There we go. I really like the fluval stratum just because it's a really small, fine clay pebble that is a slow release nutrient for your plants. So I think I'm gonna sneak by you, Max, and grab one of these just so I don't over pour. Because it's way easier to pour it in and it's a lot harder to take it out. So we can take some out if we need to, but it is a pain. So first things first, the main area we're gonna have our biggest plant is gonna be back here. Right, like so. You know, I have all these fancy tools and I rarely use them, so I'm gonna change that. We're gonna grab little UNS guy over here. We're gonna try to be fancy. We're gonna use our tools like they were intended for. That's perfect almost. That's the right height I want. Now we'll just put more in the back. One thing I recommend with gravel is sometimes it's extremely dusty. In bigger tanks, it's really not a big deal, but in smaller tanks, you don't want that dust because as soon as we fill that up, it's just gonna be covered in dust and make the water look murky. So what I'm gonna do is just rinse this up and then I'll show you us pouring it once it's all rinsed and not super dusty. So I'm just gonna do cup by cup. I doubt I'm gonna need much, so I'll be right back. Just so you can see the difference. Look at the colors on the gravel in my hand that is rinsed compared to the gravel that's all dusty in the bag. It looks like completely different gravel. So that's gonna help us out, just knowing what the scape's gonna look like. I'm gonna pour that in there. We're probably gonna need some more, but for now, pouring gravel, super easy, but I always recommend pouring it in your open spaces first because that's gonna lock in your aqua soil. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Oh yeah, that's gonna be perfect. Boom. Cool, I think we'll maybe need 2 more cups. I'll get to rinsing and we'll come back when I have more of it rinsed. So let me know when you're rolling. We're rolling? We're rolling, all right, sick. All right, well, we're done with the substrate system. Just wanna clean up my area here. All right, so we have our plants. Get this out of the way, boom, boom, boom. Clean up that all later. All right, so I just want to make a nice little space for our moss wrap station. We're going to be taking the Christmas moss and wrapping it onto our little pads here. Boom, boom, boom. Just like so. And I am really, side note, really happy with how the rocks came out and Max put it perfectly. It makes it look super flush and it gives us that goal of the wood and the rocks really coming out of that base. I think it looks really good. We're sticking with the minimal vibes to it. I'm excited to add some green to it. I think the green is really going to be the contrast we need to not make it look so blended. So that's why we're going to start with our moss wall. With the moss wall, we're going to be wrapping some of these fancier plants onto the wall. Don't know how well those are going to survive, but we're going to try them out, see how they do. I'm always down for experimenting with new plants. And then for the plants that'll be in the aquarium part, I have those resting in my 125. Pro tip, if you guys buy plants for new scapes that you're not ready to do that day, throw the plants into your old aquascapes because it's already stable. It'll live in there until you're ready to pull them out to put into a new scape. So let's get wrapping up some moss. I'm sure we're not going to bore you with wrapping every single one of them, but we'll do a quick cut so it's easy to see. And then we put it in, we can show you the final results. So let's get wrapping. All right, and we're back with a cutting board. This is definitely not going to be the cleanest of projects, but all we need is just to get a little bit of moss onto our mats, and over time some of the moss will die off, but after a while the moss will start to come back and just fill these pads out. So I think we're just going to get our hands dirty. I'm just going to squeeze this out. Boom. Boom. Moss is messy, but we're just going to leave that be. Boom. All right, so what we do is get our thing. We got our green twine here. Just got to figure out where this starts. Ooh, we got lucky. And all we're going to do is take a little piece of moss like so. We're just going to, you don't want to lay it on thick. You just want a nice little coating over the top. So we want to spread it out. And it will grow into the pad, and it'll grow nice, green, and healthy. This was submerged at the fish store, so I'm expecting a little bit of die-off, but I don't think we'll notice too much, and moss grows super fast, so it'll be looking pretty in no time. And you just want to pat it down, just like so. And that's that. You'll be covered right there. And what we're going to do is take our little string here. You want to get it started. This is tricky, but you want to hold where we're starting, and you want to just start wrapping. Well, I say start wrapping, but there we go. And after probably 2-3 weeks, it'll be growing in so thick that you won't see the twine. But for a little bit, we definitely will see it. Just like so. Boom. So.
For the excess, do you just tuck it, or what do you do?
I wanted to try to tie it, but I think this sponge is going to be coarse enough to hold it in place.
Probably tuck the extra on that one.
Yeah, or cut it, yeah. We're learning. It's been a while since I did this. So we'll cut it right there. Oh. We'll pop it in, and just like that. Now you can see the moss really isn't falling. It's in place, and over time it'll keep growing. So we're just going to come over here. Just like so. Easy peasy. And now we just got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So let's get to going. All right, so we're moving right along, and I am so happy with how it's coming together. Like I was saying, the pop of green and the red from the begonias and the velvet plant are giving it that contrast that is just perfect. And we're at that stage now where I want to push it into its final place, fill it up with water, get the mist going so none of this dries out, and then we can put the final couple plants that I have prepared for it in the tank, and we're gonna be done with the UNS Foresta. So let's get it into place. So to make sure our tap water is safe for our paludarium, I'm going to be using API Aqua Essential. This is an all-in-one water conditioner that removes all heavy metal and chlorines. And if you ever had a spike in ammonia, nitrate, or nitrite, this would take care of it. It would detoxify it. But right now, all I need the Aqua Essential for is to make that tap water safe and remove some chlorine. So you just want to give it a really, really good shake. And then on the back it shows you, let's see here, it's going to be 5 milliliters per 50 gallons or 1 milliliter per 10 gallons. And that paludarium is only, I believe, 8 gallons. So we're just going to use, just to be safe, I'm going to use probably 2 milliliters, which is just a little smidgen. But what I like to do is add it to my water container before I pour any water in. So we're just going to use a little bit there, pour it in right like so, and then fill up our water like normal. And we know after using Aqua Essential, our tap water will be safe for our newly set up aquarium. All right, so if you notice, our gravel wasn't fully rinsed as well as I thought, and there's a little bit of that dust and it's just not super clear. But that's where I always use some API AccuClear. This stuff is built just for that. It helps clear your cloudy water. What AccuClear does is it helps bind all of these dusty particles. It makes them big enough so in your filter, your sponge media, or any sort of thing in your filter, it captures that dust so it's not in your water column. So before I plug this on and get it going, I'm gonna pour a little bit of AccuClear in there. Always give the bottle a good shake. And it looks like on the back here, we add 2 milliliters per 10 gallons. This is 8 gallons, so I'm probably just gonna use 2 milliliters just to get it going. And I love AccuClear because when you pour it in, it looks just super milky and cool in the water, so we'll get a good shot of that. But we're just gonna do probably 2 milliliters, and we're just gonna pour it in like so. Boom. It is in there. And now we can turn this paludarium on and get the water going and get the mist going. Oh. Boom.
So how long is this going to stay on every day?
That's just going to stay on 24/7. Okay. So what the fog is going to do, and right now it's a little bit much because we have 2 fans going on full power. I could probably turn those off right now just to get the full effect. But these plants right here need a lot of humidity. So having this mist running 24/7 is going to ensure that this area in the paludarium is very humid. And then the water constantly running on the back is going to ensure our pads and moss stay very, very moist. Right now these plants are definitely struggling a little bit, but I'll just go through and spray those up every once in a while. But so far, it looks amazing. I just love watching it fall through the back like that, and you can hear the little drips of the water. It's perfect. But I do have some more plants I want to throw in there just to finish off the bottom layer. So they are stored in my 125. So let's get out there, grab them up, and see what we can do with it. So we'll get these guys on. Probably blew out the camera a little bit. Max is adjusting. Stay tuned. There we go. So as you can see, I got some of these Echinodoris right here. I think this guy is going to be a little too large, so I think I'm going to use that for an upcoming fishbowl project. But I like this guy, that guy behind the big guy, and then these 2 little Junkin Repens. I think I can spread those out and give the paludarium a nice little grassy feel to it. So I'm going to grab those. Grab this guy. All right, there we go. So I think what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna start with the Junkins repens. This is a grassy-like plant that grows like wildfire, and you don't need CO2 to make this grow. So that's where I'm gonna start with. Normally each one of these bundles comes with a good amount in it, so what I'm going to do is try to split them up so we can kind of maximize how many we have and give the tank a more fuller look with using less. So each little twig there, just like so. So look at that. Out of one little bunch, I think it was like $7. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 twigs that we can plant around and make it have that jungly look to it. So I'm just going to take our tweezers here, grab it like so, and start planting. Well, start planting. There we go. Just like that.
Sorry, I'm in your way.
Oh, you're good. Get it. You do you. All right, so I believe we're filming. These are Echinodoros variants, and from my research and seeing people use them, they can grow above water. These did come submerged in water, so I'm assuming some of them will likely die. But as long as the root system and like base part of the plant is healthy, new ones will sprout up. And so what Max and I were just thinking is this more skinny one is going to be really good in the middle behind the main branch there. And since these guys have a thicker, more broad leaf, we'll put them in the back corner so it kind of can fill up that corner real nice. So I'm going to try to snake these in the back without touching our wood and knocking everything over, but let's try it out. And without hitting my head on this thing. All right, so I am thrilled with how this came out. Some of the plants definitely are not very happy right now, but that is to be expected. These came from a perfect environment in the store, so these are gonna take a little bit to get acclimated, and these guys are a little droopy, totally normal. With any Paludarium or even new aquascape, your plants will experience some die-off. If that happens to you, don't worry, totally natural. Obviously, if they keep melting off after about a month of your tank being set up, try to identify where an issue might be. But in the first couple weeks, if you see a little melting, a little bit of die-off, do not worry, it's all good. But this tank is off to a phenomenal start. And the last thing I want to do is grab some API Quick Start. What Quick Start's going to do is give us some beneficial bacteria to ensure that all of our bacteria is stable. And Max got me on the throw there on the assist. Quick Start's amazing. I use it in all my aquascapes. It's just going to give the tank beneficial bacteria so that our cycle doesn't have any ammonia spikes or anything like that. I always add a little bit of extra Quick Start, but the recommended dosing is going to be 10 milliliters per 10 US gallons. So we're just going to give it a little shake. We're going to do 10 milliliters just like so. And you're just going to pour it directly into your water column. And as you can see, we use the tap water conditioner, which made our tap water safe. We use the AccuClear, which made our water crystal clear. And we're going to use probably, I'm just going to do a little bit more for good measure, the API Quick Start for our cycle to ensure that these plants get off to a good start. And just like that, we got the first tank planted, scaped in the new fish room. As you can see, it's a little bit messy right now, but sooner or later, all of these tanks are going to get beautiful scapes in them. But I just thought it was fitting. My first sponsored tank ever about 3-4 years ago is going to be the first one scaped in the new fish room. So Thank you guys so much for following along, watching another fun aquascaping video. I hope you're doing good out there. I hope you're enjoying the hobby, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.